welcome. This is Erica Glessing, and I'm really glad to have you here today. You're joining me for the Erica Glessing Show, which is 8 minutes of inspiration for entrepreneurs and lightworkers. And my next guest is both. We go back pretty far. This is Remy Chausse. She's a joyful being. She has a brand new book. She's got so much. I want to think what's words showing up for me is transformational magic. So how are you today, Remy? Welcome to the show.
I love that. Transformational magic. Thank you.
Right? Yeah. So why don't we just start? Why don't you tell me? I am not going to ask you to define the word alchemy.
Well, I think it's a good place to start, though, because, everyone has their own definition, of course, but at its core, alchemy is a process that changes or transforms something, often in a mysterious or impressive way. So when we talk about magical transformation, that's not far off. And
Wow.
It's like when my first book was called Living Life as an Exclamation Point, because so many people were telling me, I feel like I'm just not optimistic anymore.
Oh.
Right. And then more recently, I've lost my optimism. Where did it go?
Oh, no.
I had someone say, it's like all my exclamation points just fell down and died on the sidewalk.
Oh, no.
I just hate when that happens. But more recently, transformation is such a buzzword. And I really loved this idea of alchemy. And so this new book is Unlock Your Hidden Power, the 22 Undeniable Laws of Alchemy.
Yeah, and I just want everyone to know that Remy actually created a summit around this, and I was blessed to be a guest.
Oh, yes.
And we talk about the 8th law of alchemy. So I think that's the one we talked about was energy. So do you want to just give people a little hint about that one? Why not?
Well, the energy conversation, encompasses the whole book. The whole basic foundation of this is if you're feeling deeply, painfully, and hopefully stuck, no matter how much you want that change or how hard you work to achieve it, there's a reason that you're stuck, and that's because of the energy. It isn't the situation that has you stuck. It's never the situation. It's your energy about it that's become stuck. And that right there is what keeps us from creating alchemy.
I love the concept of alchemy. I love this idea that I can change still. Like, I love this idea that things can move and shift and be different. And it's funny, I woke up today, it cracks me up. I had like one thing that I set the intention of getting this one thing done. It was like 9:30 and I still hadn't done it. And I started like 6. And I looked at it, I was like, okay, what am I actually saying about that intention? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, I actually pulled back my energy from what I set the intention for today. And I said, and then I just stopped everything else and went over and took care of it. And I felt so good because I think change sometimes doesn't always happen all at once. Like, it can happen in these little decisions,
Yeah, and even in the divine moments, I think is how Course in Miracles defines it. So yeah, it can be a process, but it can also be a blink of an eye.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So what gave you the idea? What do you think inspired you with this 22 undeniable laws? What is that? Where did that come from?
That's such an easy answer. It was actually rooted in your law number 8, and the actual law that I interviewed you about and got your expertise on was called law number 8 is the easiest way to create transformation is to move the energy. And when I say that, there's a period, move period, the period, energy period. And this happened to me with my own angels and guides in a situation where I was feeling stuck, and they would just be like, move, clap, clap, energy, clap. It was like, this is what I would hear.
Nice.
Yeah. So what happens is we have sometimes these invalidations and spiritual injuries and traumas, and they block our connection to this magical creative energy of who we really are. And so we end up stuck in this energy, like I say, not because of the situation, but because we're disconnected from our very natural, innate power to get out of it and just create something different. So when we understand, Wallace Wattles talked about it in The Science of Getting Rich, that thoughts create energy, and it's an exact science. It's an exact science. Your thoughts create a vibration. These become instructions to the universe for what you want to create. So every thought creates energy, and that energy creates a vibration. That vibration tells the universe your instructions, and then hands down, it's the negative thoughts about your situation that will block that process for what
Wow.
you want to bring in.
I love hearing from you because it's so amazing when we take something that people seem to make sort of complicated and you kind of break it down into something that isn't quite so complicated.
Yeah, it's like when you think of a river isn't exactly the thing I'm thinking of, but we'll go with that as a metaphor. Positive thoughts will call in a positive flow when you think about the flow in a river. So positive
Mm,
thoughts call in this flow, and there has
mm.
to be space for the flow. If you imagine a lot of, pebbles in the river, that's a fairly easy flow, not too obstructed, but they get into bigger rocks and into boulders, and the flow can't happen. So we might have one boulder called doubts, a boulder called worry, a boulder called frustration, a boulder called anger, indecision, and all of these things, and all of a sudden the flow can't happen. So your positive thoughts call in the positive flow, but we have to make sure that we have removed these boulders so that we don't have any blocks to that flow. That's a picture that might really help.
That's amazing. I did this class one time on forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And what I got was that forgiveness was like opening up life force. And I used the same vision because I said that when you're not forgiving, it acts like all that silt and rocks and buildup. And so then the water can barely flow. And that when you forgive, it was the same kind of thing where you're removing these boulders and then you're removing silt and you're opening up the river and then the water can just flow so beautifully. So that's amazing. I remember building that class from years ago. So it's so much fun having you here today. For anyone who missed it, it's Remy Chausse. She's a little bit worried about her name spelling, so I'm just going to say it out loud for everybody. It's RemyChausse. RemyChausse. So I love Remy, love her book. She has a brand new book and a summit. So Remy, how can we reach you, find out more, and learn a little bit more about alchemy?
Well, thank you for doing that, for spelling my name. It's a French name, and people trip over the pronunciation and the spelling. Those French, we make it so complicated sometimes. I actually had a guy follow me around at a party one time, and I'd hear this voice behind me, and he'd be saying, "Ah oui, Remy," everywhere I went.
Wow.
Anyway, yeah, so for more information about the 22 undeniable laws of alchemy, that would be lawsofalchemy.remychausse.com.
Perfect. So everybody, lawsofalchemy.remychausse.com. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.